Prynhawn da a chroeso i chi gyd i'n digwyddiad Hustings Is-lywydd Myfyrwyr 2021-2022 ar gyfer ein hymgeiswyr ar ein safleoedd yn Glanadyfrdwy a Chweched Glanadyfrdwy. Mi wna i rwan wahodd pob ymgeisydd yn ei dro i gyflwyno eu hunain a'i hymgyrch yn fyr, felly os allwch chi gadw o i ryw funud os gwelwch yn dda. Good afternoon and welcome to our 2021-2022 Student Vice President Hustings event for our candidates at our Deeside and D6th sites. I will now invite each candidate in turn to briefly introduce themselves and their campaign, so if you could keep it to less than a minute, that would be great. Ein hymgeisydd cyntaf yw Ellie Kidd ac mae hi'n astudio chwaraeon lefel 3 ar ein safle yng Glanadyfrdwy. Our first candidate is Ellie Kidd and she is studying level 3 sports at our Deeside site. So over to you, Ellie.
Hi, I'm Ellie Kidd. I'm a level 3 sports student and I'm really passionate about making change, especially with women's rights. So I do a lot of work with that. And I do a lot of volunteer work surrounding sport. My three main campaign points will be to work with staff and students on educational reform surrounding women's rights especially, and making that sort of side of education a bit stronger. Just making sure that students have a more well-rounded education on all things that they're going to come across outside of college. My next point would be continuing my period poverty campaign. We've rolled that out across Deeside. We've rolled it out across Deeside already, and it's been quite successful, so I'd love to continue that and make sure that it continues to be a strong campaign. And my third priority would be mental health, especially coming out of COVID. A lot of students have had a lot of issues surrounding mental health, so I think it's important that we have a strong support system within the college.
Gwych, diolch Ellie, thank you Ellie. A wedyn ein hail ymgeisydd yw Morgan Matthews, sy'n astudio lefel A Cemeg a Bioleg ar ein safle yn Chweched Glanadyfrdwy. Our second candidate is Morgan Matthews, who is studying A-level chemistry and biology at our Deeside site. So over to you, Morgan.
Hi, I'm Morgan Matthews. I'm an A-level student at Deeside 6th, and my main campaign points are working towards positive mental health and attitude in students across all of Cambria, making sure that students know that volunteer work is available and that people know where they can go to find volunteer work and work experience, and to just overall make sure that students at Cambria have the best possible time they have and come out with the qualifications that they want, and also know that they can come back to Cambria and they are welcome no matter what type of student you are, whether it's part-time or full-time, or even if you want to come back and just explore more of your options.
Fab, thank you Morgan, diolch Morgan. Wel, diolch i chi'ch dwy am gyflwyno'ch hunain, a ymlaen rwan i gwestiynu'r ymgeiswyr. Mae'r cwestiynau dwi am ei ofyn wedi cyflwyno gan fyfyrwyr Coleg Cambria, ac mi fyddaf yn ei gofyn nhw yn y Gymraeg ac yna yn y Saesneg. Dylech ateb y cwestiynau yn eich dewis iaith. Os ydych yn ateb yn Gymraeg, mi fyddaf yn gofyn i chi grynhoi eich ateb yn Saesneg hefyd. So thank you both for introducing yourselves. I'll now go on to question the candidates. The questions that I'll be asking have been submitted by Coleg Cambria students, and I will ask them in Welsh and then in English. You should answer these questions in your language of choice. If you do answer in Welsh, I will also ask you to summarise your answer in English. Felly'r cwestiwn cyntaf. Beth fyddwch chi'n ei wneud i wella bywyd myfyrwyr yng Ngholeg Cambria? So the first question, what are you going to do to improve student life at Coleg Cambria? So we'll go over to you first, Morgan.
To improve student life at Coleg Cambria, I'm planning on introducing spirit days like we've already had back in December when we dressed up as like film characters. And we're going to be doing that to raise more money for Student Voice, so we can, well, I like to use the phrase raise more to do more, because that is a big part of my campaign, and and also making sure that people understand that if they are eligible for EMA, that they can get EMA. And I've already been in touch with the resilience coaches and the job shop in order to make sure that we have people in place and levels of support for people when they need it or if they need it.
Great, diolch Morgan, thank you Morgan. And the same question to you, Ellie?
So to improve student life at Coleg Cambria, I think that a lot of my campaign points would touch upon this, especially like the overall like educational reform around just sort of, so like you have your course and then you have them other sessions that like may not necessarily be really teaching students like what they really need to know. Like I don't think, and that's like where students lose interest, because it's not interesting. It's stuff that we've done like in high school already. So I think that making these sessions better will improve students' overall education. And I think like especially like the period poverty campaign, it's going to help a lot of people who are having periods access them products that they need. I also think that it's important, you know, to make sure that we're all getting like the opportunities, you know, equal opportunities offered to us. Making sure that students know what clubs and like societies there are on campuses, and making sure that they're accessible to all students. I think that's really important.
Thank you, Ellie. Diolch, Ellie. We'll go on to the second question. Felly, beth fyddwch chi'n ei wneud i helpu myfyrwyr a staff traws neu sydd ddim yn cydymffurfio â'r rhyw i deimlo'n fwy cyfforddus yng Coleg Cambria? So what will you do to help trans and gender non-conforming students and staff to feel more comfortable at Coleg Cambria? And Ellie, you can begin on this one.
I think that a big thing that when I've spoken to these students in the past has been like toilets, making sure that toilets are accessible and it's not just a disabled toilet, because a lot of students feel uncomfortable using the disabled toilet when they're not necessarily have a disability. So making sure that at least changes are being made to make these facilities more accessible. I think that it's a lot about educating students on what it is to be transgender, what it is to be gender non-conforming. I think that that's really important, because a lot of young people might not necessarily understand, and that could make it difficult for those other students who maybe feel like they're constantly having to explain it or feel uncomfortable talking about it all the time. So yeah, I think it's a lot about making maybe what they're sort of going through, making it a bit more easy for them and making them more comfortable whilst they're on campus.
Diolch, Ellie. And then the same question to you, Morgan.
Obviously, I've already talked about having people in place for support at all times. Also, I want to make people aware that they could go to their form tutors and their progress coach, and then if they really do need it, staff can refer them to the resilience coaches on site. And also, if people want to, they can feel free to talk to me as the student vice president, if they don't feel comfortable in their environment, or if they just feel like they need more support. And also I want to make it known that staff, they can still come and talk to me if they want to, because it doesn't matter if, obviously I'd be younger. I'm going to try and welcome anyone that I can, and it doesn't even matter to people who, sorry, I've lost my wording. I care a lot about the LGBTQ plus community and the trans community and gender non-conforming students, and if all I want them to be able to do is to feel welcome wherever they go or wherever they are, and I'm going to make sure that people know that they can use me if they want to.
Fab, thank you, Morgan. Diolch, Morgan. The third question, Be fyddech chi'n ei wneud i drio sicrhau bod myfyrwyr rhan amser yn teimlo'n fwy o ran yn y coleg? So what would you do to make part-time students feel more of a part of the college life here at Coleg Cambria? So we'll begin with Morgan.
Okay, so part-time students are obviously able to join whatever societies they want, and also they're able to stay in contact with staff throughout, and like the same kind of contact hours. But part-time students may feel slightly left out because obviously they're not here the whole time. So maybe I would try to create more availability for societies, and maybe the ones that have a higher demand, make sure that they run on multiple days, and same with different seminars that come on as well, or maybe even make sure that they're recorded live so they're available at any time.
Diolch, Morgan. And the same question to you, Ellie.
So obviously it can be quite difficult when you're not on campus all the time, and I think a lot of them could feel they miss out. So like if there was like a club that's only on a Wednesday and they're only on like a Monday and a Friday, something like that, obviously they're missing out on that. So I think that obviously making sure that club and society hours differ, and make sure that they're offered at different times and on different days, so that they have the opportunity to get involved with them. Make sure that they know about clubs and societies. I think that a lot of times, maybe because they're not in all the time, they're not getting that constant feed of information that like a full-time student might be getting, because like I know, because like, I'll come in the morning and like we'll get told about stuff like every day. Like if something comes up, we'll be told like on the day, and then maybe, you know, especially if they've got like jobs, stuff like that, they're not going to be checking their emails 24/7. So making sure that there's a way that they can get that information to them. I think that making sure that they know that they have access to the facilities on campus whenever they want to use them, whenever they need to use them, not just in them hours. And I think, you know, if there is a one-off event, making sure that now we have the online setup, that we can use that online setup after COVID, like, you know, coming out of it, to make sure that these students can still like get involved, because they might have been able to get involved in more because of the online.
Yeah, diolch, Ellie. Thank you, Ellie. Cwestiwn rhif 4. Beth yw eich barn chi ar y gefnogaeth sydd ar gael i fyfyrwyr sydd â sgiliau cyfathrebu di-eiriau yn y coleg? What are your views on the support for students with non-verbal communication skills at the college? So we'll begin with you, Ellie.
So I should hope that they're getting the right support. If they're not, that's obviously an issue that I'd be happy to, you know, chase up in the future, you know, from September, even from now, if there's a huge issue with this, because everyone should be able to get involved with everything. I think making sure that things like I say clubs again, club societies have the option for those students who want to get involved, who might have trouble like with communication, who can't communicate verbally, but there is a way in place for them to get involved with these clubs and societies easily, not have to stress about it, not have to go through like 10 different hoops just to join one club. So yeah, if there is a massive issue, then I'd be happy to work with the college, with those students, to make sure that they're getting really what they're entitled to, in my opinion.
Diolch, Ellie. And then the same question to you, Morgan.
I think that Ellie summed that up really nicely, but I'd just like to say that across all of Coleg Cambria, if students with non-verbal communication skills are struggling at Coleg Cambria and they do need someone to reach out to, that they can reach out to me and they can make suggestions, and I'd be more than happy to try and campaign for a change in there and go up to like senior staff and ask them why hasn't it been sorted already. But also I'd just like to say that I am looking at starting or campaigning for a course at Deeside 6th for sign language for people that don't speak British Sign Language at the moment, because it's something that I've always wanted to learn, and I did actually start learning it over lockdown. So I think that's just what I have to say about that.
Yeah, gwych. Diolch, Morgan. A wedyn y cwestiwn olaf, we're on to the last question now. Ni gafodd llawer ohono chi ddawns diwedd y flwyddyn neu prom ar ddiwedd eich cyfnod yn yr ysgol. Felly pa fath o ddawns neu prom fyddech chi'n ei ymgyrchu drosto ac yn ei drefnu ar gyfer y myfyrwyr yma yng Ngholeg Cambria? So many of you probably didn't get a prom at the end of the school year. So what kind of prom would you campaign for and organise for students at Coleg Cambria if you would do at all? So Morgan, do you want to begin?
So obviously everyone has different things that they think about when they think of prom, and I think that what I would do first is I would send out a small questionnaire about whether enough students would like a prom and what type of prom they would like. Just some of the basic things like, would you like a theme? Would you be likely to attend? Would you like to bring other students from other colleges or sixth forms with you? Whether you'd like a joint prom with the college, or whether you just like it as a sixth form and a college separately. Just if there is a demand for it, I would definitely try to organise one.
Thank you, Morgan. Diolch. And then the same question for you, Ellie.
I think this obviously is very difficult on this particular campus. We're a massive campus. We've got lots of different kinds of students. So making sure that no one would be like left out of a prom could be quite difficult. I'd be happy to look into it, send out a questionnaire, make sure that, students want the prom. If there's interest there, I'd be happy to plan a prom that students, again, I think, sending out the questionnaires, making sure that we've got the right kind of prom, like what students actually want, what they would prefer, like, would they prefer it to be like, different course levels, different courses? I don't know, so I'd have to work that out, especially with such a big campus. But I'd be happy to look into it and move forward with it if that's something students want.
Gwych, diolch, Ellie. Well, thank you to both of you. I think Deeside and D6th are very lucky to have you both, and I really enjoyed listening to your answers today. Dwi'n meddwl bod Glanadybdwy a Chweched Glanadybdwy yn lwcus iawn I gael Morgan ag Ellie. Dwi wedi mwynhau gwrando ar yr atebion prynhawn 'ma. I'd just like to invite you both now just to summarise your campaign maybe, or just give us some reasons on why students should vote for you. Felly, dwi just am roi cyfle I chi rwan, just I ddod â pob peth I glo, ag I roi ychydig o bwyntiau ni am pam ddylai myfyrwyr bleidleisio drostoch chi. So Ellie, go ahead.
I think that I've got a proven track record for stand-up for students and all the things that I've done in the past. I'm not really afraid to speak up if students want anything. I'm not going to tiptoe around staff, because I think that we should just ask for what we want, so I'm not afraid to be the person who asks. I think that my campaign points would really make a change to the college, and one of them, especially the period poverty campaign, would continue to make a change to the college as it rolls out. I'd be excited to work with other vice presidents to unify the college and make sure that all the students on campus are getting the experience that they want.
Diolch, Ellie. And then Morgan, why should students vote for you?
Okay, so I'm very much mental health and work experience, volunteer experience orientated. I'm all about, as well as living in the now, I'm all about the future and trying to help you get where you want to go. So I really want to make sure that you have the best possible time and you can use all of Coleg Cambria's resources to the fullest extent, just so you're not here for a qualification, you're here for an experience, a college experience, and especially during COVID, that's been a really difficult thing to get. So during my time as student vice president, I am going to try and do as many things as I possibly can to try and improve everyone else's experience as well as my own.
Brilliant, thank you. Diolch yn fawr iawn i chi'ch dwy.